Hello. So it's time to do the January 2023 currently inked. So for this month, I have this selection of pens, and I actually have it somewhat organized, with the exception of this one, where all of these pens are carryover from the last month, and then all of these pens are new for this month. So we'll start with the ones that carry over, and I'm just going to take this one out and just put it down here. And I'm going to go back to swatching in two different papers. So the first will be the Tomoe River notebook, which is a cream or off-white paper. I like to have that just for a guide so it's straight. And then the second will be the Galen Leather Company, and this is the Cosmo Air Light, 75 grams. I have been quite sick for the last couple of days. It literally was Christmas night after I cleaned everything up. I completely crashed, and I was in bed all day Monday, most of the day Tuesday, and most of the day Wednesday, with the exception of a very few things that I had previously scheduled that I did get out of bed for. So I'm happy to be feeling better. Oh, I already made my first mistake. So this is the TWSBI Eco Glow Purple. And this is in an extra fine. And TWSBI is just such a consistent, solid writer. And this has the Diamine Harmony, which is from Inkvent 2021. And I believe I inked this up in November, and it still has a good amount of ink in it. So hopefully I can make a little bit of a dent in that. Now the next is the Pelikan Twist. And this is in a fine. This has Sailor, Itazora. And what I'll do is I'll write all on this paper, and then I'll switch over to the Cosmo Air Light. So that if you would like to stop watching, you are free to do so, or you can stick around and watch me on another type of paper. The next is the Ferris Wheel Press Roundabout, and this is the Rollerball fountain pen. And this has Ferris Wheel Press Storied Blue. Now, after I do the next sample of this one, I will show what the writing experience has been like for that pen. All right, so then we have, this is the only pen that has a, what I'm going to call Christmas ink left in it. And I use this quite a lot, but the cartridge that I used to fill it was able to hold a good amount of ink. So this is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and this is in a medium fine. And this has Diamine Polar Glow, which is from Inkvent 2020. And this was gifted from a colleague before I even knew what Inkvent was. And then we have, now this you can see almost empty, but I'm going to be refilling this with the same ink because goodness, do I love it. So this is the TWSBI Diamond 580, and this is an extra fine, and this has Birmingham Pen Company, Pennsylvania Fieldstone. Now this ink is just stunning. It's underrated. I don't understand why it's not in so many more videos in the fountain pen community. I might go ahead and get a second bottle of it just because Birmingham Pen Company is a small company and they, you know, make batches. It's not commercially available, so I just worry that I could run out of it. So this ink, I'm going to keep it inked up in this pen because my very good friend is getting married. I'm her matron of honor, and her wedding colors are blush, navy, and silver. And this is the perfect blush to go with what she has chosen. And I'm currently looking for the perfect navy to match as well. And then I can do all of my note taking in her wedding colors. I think honestly, and I'll speak to this in a moment, but I think I might have a good idea of what the perfect navy would be. All right, so this is the Ferris Wheel Press gold-plated brush pen, and this is in a fine, and this has Birmingham Pen Company Armadillo. Now for those of you who have watched some of my other videos, this is the second Armadillo that I received. All right, so the next one, and I believe this is the last of my carryovers. So this is the Sailor 21 karat in an extra fine, and this has Diamine Earl Grey. Now I think Diamine's actually not my favorite brand, I'll be honest, but I think the Diamine standard inks are fine. I think, because I've never had an issue with Harmony and I've never had an issue with Earl Grey, but the Polar Glow and Garland and All the Best that I used last month had a lot of smudges, and so I think it's the sheening and maybe just the sheening properties in it that just don't really set on paper and are you know, even with just the tiniest bit of clamminess in your hands, it smudges, and I don't love that. All right, so this is a newer pen, and it's a vintage, I believe it's a 1980s, maybe 1970s, but this is a Pilot Elite, and it's an extra fine, but it is incredibly wet. Incredibly wet. And this has Birmingham Pen Company. Oops, burnt. Sorry, not burnt. Blast furnace. Yep, that's wet. All right, and then one of my first Christmas gifts. Oh, so pretty. This is the Kaweco Student 70s, and it has a fine nib. And this has Ferris Wheel Press, Stroke of Midnight. I think this might be the right navy to go with because it's a beautiful dark navy, but it has that silver shimmer. So that might be a bottle that I need to get as part of the wedding ink. Now here's my baby, the Pelikan M400 Saran, and a very wet extra fine. The nib is so bouncy. And this has Pelikan, Edelstein, Moonstone. All right, and then another new ink, another Christmas gift. So this is the TWSBI Glow Green, TWSBI Eco, I should have said, Glow Green, and a fine. And this is Akkerman 28. And I don't know how to pronounce that, and I would, be uncomfortable continuing to say it wrong, but I did want to share that I had a couple of people comment on my video about the inks that I got for Christmas and had given me some really fun information about the translation and the area that this ink likely came from. And so I had one viewer that says it's loosely translated into backyard green, which would make a lot of sense. And that Hof means court, and quartier means quarter, and groen means green. And then I had another viewer that mentioned that it's named after a neighborhood in the Hague. And that, does have to do with the greenery and grass. And then another viewer commented that many streets have the name Hof in them, and that there's Akkerman inks are named after those streets and places, and that there's this really cute beautiful shopping area in the Netherlands called the Passage, and that Akkerman likely has a shop there. So thank you all for the information. I really appreciated reading through that. And then the last one, so this one is the Moon Man A1, and it has a Pilot Vanishing Point medium nib unit. And it's inked up with Robert Oster or Oster Honeybee. So those are the inks on Tomoe River paper. Now let's go through and do the swatch on the Cosmo Air Light. And we'll work backwards. That's also very bouncy. It's tough to go from writing with a TWSBI Eco, which does have a very stiff nib, to writing with an 18 karat bouncy nib. First world problems, right? All right, so TWSBI Eco. And again, going from a stiff nib to a bouncy nib. I really love the way that this ink shades on the Tomoe River paper. I'm not seeing as much shading on the Cosmo Air Light. But it definitely is a little bit toothier of a paper. And I do have an ink order coming from a gift card that I got for Christmas from my in-laws. And I have some blue inks that I can try out for that wedding ink. Oh, that's feathering. That's interesting. I really just think there's nothing that can compare with Tomoe River paper. When writing with fountain pens. being less chatty because I'm just enjoying the process myself. Oh, I love that ink. I never would have predicted that I would even put pink ink in a pen. But I think that's part of what I love about this hobby so much is just get to explore. And especially when I'm doing samples of inks, it's okay if I don't like it. Okay, that was just $2, you know? And this is Ferris Wheel Press Storied Blue. Now, I'll be honest, I think this pen is making me not like the ink Storied Blue. And I'll get to it. I just have 2 more and then I'll show you the writing sample. I'll explain why in a moment. And the last one. This paper shows all my fingerprints. Okay. So these are my currently inked for January of 2023. Welcome to the new year. I'm very proud of myself that to start off the new year, I have a couple of bright colors. And I also have a couple of colors that are, you know, my comfort zone, the Moonstone and the Earl Grey. And I can't get over this Pennsylvania Fieldstone. I might today go and place that order just to make sure I get that second bottle so that I am sure not to run out. Now, as I mentioned, the Ferris Wheel Press Roundabout pen. So I have written with it, where is that book? Did I not bring it up? Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. All right, so I have written with it twice as a daily journaling ink. And the first time I abandoned it. Got about halfway through the page and abandoned it. So then I tried again and it did the same thing. It is not a consistent writer. So, what do I do? I'll try a different ink, but I would think that a Ferris Wheel Press pen would work with a Ferris Wheel Press ink. Maybe user error, I'm just not sure. So I'll keep working with it. Once this ink runs out, I'm gonna clean it out and store it and come back to it at another time. So you probably won't see this one again for a few months. But if anyone has any tips, if anyone has a roundabout and has an ink that works really well or has experienced something similar, let me know. I would love to get some feedback about that. Anywho, thank you for watching. If you stuck around to the end, I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you have dedicated this time to enjoying the currently inked process with me. It is one of my favorites, and I look forward to making this video every month. So Happy New Year, and I hope you have a wonderful, restful day.